From the alley-oops at Kezar to the glory days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time. Welcome to the show. I'm excited about this one because we get to talk about Marcelino McCrary Ball, and he is part of the Red Shirt Rundown, and this is going to be a great one because McCrary Ball is somebody the 49ers are definitely high on, and a lot of comments I get from people, and they're messaging me and asking me questions about Marcelino McCrary Ball, especially with the 49ers deciding to draft two linebackers during the season. The thought was Marcelino was going to make an impact on the team in 2023, but can he still do that? I think it's definitely got a little bit more difficult for McCrary Ball to do the things that he needs to do and make plays within this defense. But we're going to go through who Marcelino McCrary Ball is, if you're not familiar with him, and then how exactly he translates into potentially helping the San Francisco 49ers in a crowded linebacker room. He's a transitional safety to linebacker, which sounds like every single player from the 49ers team ends up being a safety to linebacker type prospect. So when he came out of college, out of Indiana, he was 6 foot tall, 212 pounds, very undersized, especially as far as weight for a linebacker in the NFL. Now, the NFL is trending towards smaller linebackers, quicker guys who can run, and Marcelino McCrary Ball runs a 4.51. So the speed is there. He's very athletic. D. Winters was a 4.49 guy. So the 49ers have a particular type of linebacker that they're looking for, and Marcelino McCrary Ball fits into that realm. The 49ers' three starters are probably set for this season between Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, and Oren Burks. But behind them, I think, is where all the fun begins. The 49ers kept 6 linebackers, and of course, last year put Curtis Robinson on the IR shortly after the official 53-man roster came down. So they were willing to keep Curtis Robinson. Would the 49ers be willing to keep 6? Not sure. Depends on how the roster plays out and how many quarterbacks the 49ers have to keep. I think the 49ers are going to keep 3, which means that alters other positions and how many players you're able to keep there. But they're going to have a tremendous amount of talent. We mentioned the 3 starters that are there. Then the 49ers drafted D. Winters. Then they drafted Jalen Graham. They have Curtis Robinson, who made the initial 53. Shows you how much they wanted him to come back. Demetrius Flannigan-Fowles, they brought back as a free agent. Did not sign him as a restricted free agent, let him walk, and then brought him back on the cheap. But he's a special teams ace who has a lot of experience playing in the 49ers system, both as Sam backer and some in the preseason as a Mike backer, which is going to be very important in our conversation. And then they have a couple undrafted free agents. But Marcelino McCrary Ball is one of the sophomores, and he was redshirted last year. They thought enough of him to bring him back. Now, is he still 212 pounds? No, he's not. He's going to be over 230 pounds. He's going to look a lot more like D. Winters. These two players are very similar as far as stature and speed. They also have really good instincts. So these guys are comp for each other, which means they're probably battling with each other. So if the 49ers wanted to keep 6 linebackers, it would be pretty easy. You keep your starters, and then you could keep 3 young cats, Jalen Graham, D. Winters, and Marcelino McCrary Ball. All 3 would help you on special teams with their speed, tackling ability, able to run around and make plays. So can McCrary Ball make this roster? I think he can, but it's going to take a lot. He has to beat out a Jalen Graham. He has to beat out a Demetrius Flannigan-Fowles. The good news for him is the 49ers only spent a 6th-round pick on D. Winters and a 7th-round pick on Graham. They don't exactly have a high value of draft pick that would make the 49ers fearful of letting them go if they needed to. So he can definitely come in and do that. What else does he have? He has experience. He played within the system. He played for Coach Hollins the previous season, so he understands what's expected for him at linebacker. He's also had the time to put together an NFL body. All those things go into, his advantage. The problem is there's other young cats on this team that are absolutely dynamic and have really good instincts too. But McCrary Ball is a guy that can do it in coverage. He's a pretty good coverage guy considering he came from safety. He has very good instincts. He gets downhill and he makes tackles. He's good in run fits. We've seen him flash and make plays in the preseason last year, including an interception that he returned for almost for a touchdown. McCrary Ball is a guy that is going to have a lot of people's attention in training camp. He was definitely somebody that flashed on people's radar. There were a few free agents, undrafted free agents that did that last year. Jason Poe, Marcelino McCrary Ball, Taylor Hawkins, Quantrez Knight. All those guys are coming in and having to compete for roster spots this year. And the 49ers didn't just hand them anything. They went out and they got players at their position that could play at a high level. The thing that McCrary Ball has going for him is not only does he bring an extreme amount of energy, but he also brings some thump. He hits hard. He plays hard. He tackles well. He blitzes good. When we're talking about Steve Wilkes' defense, what do you have to be able to do? You have to be good in run fits, and you have to be able to blitz. McCrary Ball had 5 sacks his last year at Indiana. So there is an ability there for him to be able to get to the quarterback in a big way. And that's what the 49ers are doing. Dee Winters, 9 sacks from the linebacker position in his senior season. So the 49ers are looking for aggressive linebackers that can still make the necessary plays and be consistent. You just want consistency there. Azeez Al-Shire used to be the exact same type of player. He was very flashy when he first came in. He was a transitional player from safety to linebacker, and he flashed around and he made tremendous amounts of tackles. That's what these guys are. McCrary Ball, Dee Winters, Jalen Graham. They flash around. Winters especially can be related to Marcelino McCrary Ball. These guys flash, they have instincts, and they make tackles, and they bring an energy that is infectious to your defense. We've seen that be big for the 49ers with players like Fred Warner and Taldo Ufonga and Trey Greenlaw, and they bring that attitude. The Marcelino McCrary Ball could be one of the final 5 linebackers the 49ers keep. In that case, that means Dee Winters or Jalen Graham, one of them is probably going to be released, which is crazy to think. But when you put Oren Burks into the starting lineup, you know that you're going to have to replace him on special teams, which is going to be very difficult. He's one of the best special teams linebackers in the league. And can you still call on him to play special teams at times with him only playing approximately 20% of the snaps because he's a base 4-3 linebacker as he plays Sam? Yes. But you still want to make sure your guys stay healthy. Azeez Al-Shire was a tremendous special teams player, and yet he sort of transitioned out. So being able to step into that starting lineup means you probably are not playing as much special teams, which means the 49ers have to replace them. And that means Dee Winters, Marcelino McCrary Ball, Curtis Robinson, Jalen Graham. The best way for you to make this team is to play really well on special teams and to beat out Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles. Flanagan-Fowles is going to play well on special teams. He's going to do a pretty good job, but you have to go in there and execute. You have to take advantages of the opportunities that you get. There's not going to be a tremendous amount of opportunities in preseason, but I think this is an absolute battle, and I think it's even. I don't think the 49ers have a certain player they want to win. It's a meritocracy, and they're going to have the best possible player come in and win the position. Marcelino McCrary Ball's ability to get away from offensive players as far as disengaging and making tackles was pretty clear in the preseason last year. Now, he could still get better at it, and I think as he continues to put on size, it's going to be easier. He's going to have more strength. He's going to have better technique as far as shedding blocks and being able to get rid of offensive players so he can make tackles. Being able to use rips is going to be important for him as far as hand placement and everything that goes into it. But I think him having a head start and him being the same size, speed, everything as Dee Winters is going to make for a fun training camp. These guys are going to be flying around. They're going to be making plays. They're playmakers. And then you've got a category in which they're competing with Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles and Curtis Robinson. And Robinson is also a very solid linebacker. The reason I talked earlier about the middle linebacker position and why Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles has an advantage there is Azeez Al-Shire was the backup to play middle linebacker. With Azeez Al-Shire gone, the guy would be Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles. They could always work in Oren Burks to potentially play that spot and then somebody else come in to play Sam. Or Curtis Robinson or Marcelino McCrary Ball could fit that role. Curtis Robinson makes the most sense, but if you feel like he's not going to make this roster, and maybe McCrary Ball can because of versatility, you go that direction. Marcelino McCrary Ball has the versatility to play all 3 linebacker positions for the San Francisco 49ers. I think that really will help him in his opportunity to make the team. You throw in his special teams prowess, and next thing you know, you've got a linebacker that could be replacing Demetrius Flannigan-Fowles on this roster and supplanting one of the 49ers 2023 draft picks. 49ers are not afraid to make a move like this. 49ers are not afraid to have a player with tremendous instincts come in and make an impact on their team. Marcelino McCrary Ball is everything the 49ers like in linebacker and everything we're going to want to watch in the preseason. It's going to be absolute blast to watch McCrary Ball and D. Winters fly around. Jalen Graham and Curtis Robinson use their intuition and intelligence. Demetrius Flannigan-Fowles do everything he can to hold on to a roster spot as a veteran incumbent on this football team. It's exciting to think about. It's an exciting room, and the 49ers continue to add depth, both through undrafted free agents that they redshirt that can eventually come in and make an impact on the team, and players that they draft. San Francisco 49ers, talented roster is going to be on full display at training camp, and I can't wait to see number 40 out there making big-time plays. McCrary Ball could be an absolute baller for the San Francisco 49ers in 2023, but we're going to have to wait until training camp to find out. I appreciate everyone for coming through and watching the video. Let me know what you think about Marcelino McCrary Ball. Do you think it's his time? Do you believe he could start over Oren Burks? What are your thoughts on him compared to D. Winters and Jalen Graham? I'm really curious about what everyone is thinking about the linebacker position, because I think this is the year of the most competition we've seen at linebacker in a long time. We had competition between Dre Greenlaw and Quan Alexander, but Dre won that pretty easily. And since then, there hasn't been as much competition there, with Aziz stepping up recently. So I'm curious what you think. Like the video if you could. I really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Appreciate that so much. On the way to 4K. If you have Patreon, brand new episode over on Patreon that you can go check out about the 49ers quarterback situation and assessment of not only who is in line to start, but also how many quarterbacks the 49ers are going to keep in 2023. Thank you so much for watching. There's going to be plenty more content coming out on the channel. Stay safe, and remember, the right way is always the 49ers.